In this week's Vendée Mag, as we head towards the South Atlantic, the first gaps are starting to appear. François Gabart gives us his expert view of Sam Goodchild's performance, and we'll analyse Maxime Sorel's retirement and hear from the V&B Montbana Mayenne skipper.
This is bliss. She's speeding up. It's wonderful, the Vendée Globe.
C'est beau le Vendée Globe, hein?
Relentless. Huh?
4 days into the race, and the Vendée Globe skippers were off Madeira and finally enjoying being at sea. The fleet moved back to a direct course after hurtling downwind, knowing they were about to hit a lull. The temperature rose, the wind dropped, and the sea smoothed. At the head of the fleet, Nicolas Lundven, Sam Goodchild, Charlie Dallan and Johan Richon regularly swapped the lead as they shifted to get the best out of the changing wind. Each of the favourites flexed their muscles in turn, sometimes choosing the hard option, but now time stood still. Rest and recuperation, a bite to eat, and a few repairs were on the agenda.
I'll fix a few things while it's slack today. I've opened the hatch to the foil controls. I'm going to change the broken down lines. I'm going to try to restate what I can with Sikaflex. I've motivated myself to make the roof watertight. I've applied sealant and I've laminated it. That doesn't look too bad. I'm preparing blades for the hydro generator because they're not producing current, and that's not much use. That's the magic of the Vendée Globe. First problem solved. There's sure to be more. It says where enjoyment begins. It begins with coffee too. A tomato, a little salt, the taste of adventure. Look at all this fruit. Enough grapefruit for a Vendée Globe. In the Southern Ocean, that'll be my lethal weapon. I think it's time now for a shower.
First shower, with seawater of course, but I've rinsed off with a tiny bit of fresh water. Nice and clean.
Just got to dry now.
The weather situation was abnormal. The lows to the east and the west were blocked by the Azores high, here in blue. As a result, the usual easterly trade winds were absent. The fleet faced slow progress.
Almost a week of racing, a bit slow over the last section. Let's have a look. We're here with the rest of the fleet behind. We'll try and head for the Cape Verde Islands. We've a big area with no wind ahead, right here. This is going to move southeast and bar our route. It's going to bother us for a while. We'll have to go a long way west. The whole fleet will have to sail around the top to avoid getting caught. The problem is finding the compromise. Go far to pick up wind, or stay close for a shorter route. It's not easy.
The changing wind strength and direction was unnerving. The fleet stretched out, looking for a route to the west. The leaders were slowed and the gaps diminished. 60 miles separated the top 15. Making headway required constant focus. Sail changes, weight distribution on board, maximising the slightest breeze. Every detail counted. in the quest for progress.
It's wonderful for me at the moment. I'm surfing on a bank of clouds. There's wind underneath the cloud that was ahead, and that stretches across there. I'm reaching the end now. I think I've exhausted that one.
Jean Le Cam and Conrad Coleman have opted to take an eastern route, hugging the Canaries and the African coast to keep enough breeze to descend towards Cape Verde.
Everybody going this way and seeing Jean and now finally me going this way. Well, that's scary. Even though I come from New Zealand, I'm not just trying to be a black sheep, be a renegade here. And also Jean Le Cam has gone this way, and I'm not by myself, and he's got a similar boat, and he's got lots of experience in weather routing too. So I'm not the only one making a mistake going this way.
A different, uncertain option, but being the furthest south of the whole fleet put the race veteran in first place for 2 days. But the calm areas along the African coast were no less worrying.
Sure, I've charted a different route to the others, and I may have sailed a bit too close to the Canaries, but I'm through. Normally it should calm down for the Western group too. It's always interesting to have these different options, but you've got to be brave and have faith.
To the west, the leaders leapt from cloud to cloud.
It's dead calm since midday. I've lots of small jobs to do, check the boat. It's nice when the boat's still sometimes, but wow. Everyone's stuck, so the pressure's off. We were going fast last night, but we've no wind now because of that rain cloud. We'll pick up a little wind when we've passed it. We're east of our rivals over there on the other side of the cloud. Good for them.
And when they found the elusive wind, conditions changed in no time at all.
Bureau Valet is on the move. Game on. Johan is over there. Oh, and there's Jeremy. Normally, we'd be digging in, but we're flying. It's fabulous. These boats, they're crazy. That's what I wanted to show you. My neighbour from Ile de Ré is just over there. Arnaud is at that bank of cloud that we don't have. On the AIS, he's progressing at 12 knots, and we're doing 3. He's overtaking. Well, I can't do a thing. It's horrible when it's dead calm.
With squalls and sudden wind changes, the skippers are forced to stay alert on deck, at the helm or trimming. There's no time to nap.
Last night, catching up with me. It was tough. I was hallucinating. I was sure pirates were coming on board. But there were no pirates, just the waves banging against the hull.
With the front runners slowing down, it gave those who'd been overwhelmed by the start or by the leader's intense pace a chance to play catch-up and to put on a happy face.
Pas fait un bon début de course, clairement, donc il a fallu que je réfléchisse un petit peu pour trouver une stratégie.
I didn't start the race well. I had to think of a strategy that wasn't suicidal. I opted for quite a short route in the end. It was a little risky, but I've managed to climb the ratings a bit and boost my morale by catching up with a few others with whom I can carry on racing.
Et puis de rejoindre quelques petits camarades pour continuer à jouer, donc.
The nice surprise is I'm back in the race. Here, near the middle of the fleet.
Un peu au milieu de la flotte.
And so we're off again.
C'est reparti.
On a fait 24 heures au top.
We've had a great 24 hours. We've managed to pretty much get back in the race. I'm happy where we are. It's now up to us to get Coup de Pouce working hard to catch up with a few of our pals. Oh, Violette. She's going too fast. Wait for me. Look what I've got for you.
Regarde ce que j'ai pour toi en plus. J'ai 3 brosses à dents.
3 toothbrushes. 1 violet and 2 orange.
The key move last weekend was Thomas Rouillon, furthest west, jibing first to shift back to the centre and head in a more southerly direction towards Sam Goodchild's position. The opportunistic British sailor has remained relatively central. He regained the lead by opening a gap on the western group, who were a little late in veering south.
I found the other far west cowboys, Johan Richom and Jeremy Bayou. We've 2 rivals who've sneaked off a bit, but there's a slack area tomorrow. I hope it'll hold them up more than it does us.
Ça va les ralentir un petit peu plus que nous. Je viens de croiser Paul Meillat là, il y a...
I crossed paths with Paul Meillat a few minutes ago. He was already heading south. Everyone's placed their bets. We'll see who's backed the right one.
Voilà, chacun a posé ses pièces. On verra bien qui a le mieux réussi cette descente.
After a week of downwind conditions, Louis Burton informed race management on Saturday that he'd heard a loud crack coming from the jockey pole area. That's where all the stresses from the biggest sail, the Jenica, are concentrated. He also reported structural cracks in the deck. He continued his investigation, stayed in the race, but a repair at sea seemed too risky.
I was downwind when a squall came in and I bore away. My angle to the wind was 150 degrees. No way. I heard a cracking noise and 5 minutes later there were 2 more. Now here you can see the bump and the split on the hull side. Damage over 40 centimetres. So there's some water ingress through the hull side. Damn, why's that happened? I can't believe it. The speed was fine compared to the new boats. Bloody hell. Well, the boat is badly damaged. I think I can repair it, and we're going to try and do that at sea. We've talked about retiring, but I can't bring myself to do that. There's too much at stake in this race.
Further up the Atlantic, Xabi Verres reached Las Palmas in the Canaries, where he repaired his headsails and the hole in his mainsail caused by the gale at Cape Finisterre. He set sail 24 hours later. The 2 vulnerables held a small lead over the fleet on their descent south before hitting another area of calm. Sebastien Simon, left behind on the track to the west, managed to recover by taking a central route. Nicholas Lundven to the west closely followed in Thomas Rouillon's wake. 4 boats succeeded in breaking away. They're worth watching because if they manage to hit the trade winds, these skippers could forge a sizable lead.
I'm happy. In the end, we're not doing too badly with our option to stay north of the fleet. The south also worked well for Sam, so that's good. A bit lucky at times, particularly after a descent of the Atlantic with scattered squalls. But I'm proud to say I'm leading the Vendée Globe after a week of racing. It's amazing. We're entering a small area of transition, and we're the first here, along with Sam. I've changed the head sails. It's good to get out on deck.
Jean Le Cam set a course along the African coast and should run east of Cape Verde before heading west under spinnaker. He may find wind leading to the Doldrums without heading too far west. Conditions were pleasant. The heat rose but was still bearable, and the fleet continued to converge in the centre of the Atlantic, as Justine Metreau explained.
I'm still in the right pack. A good section of the fleet is at close quarters, so it's great to be here. It could be worse. We can compete with some good skippers. It spurs us to go faster until we get to the Doldrums. Sam Davis is right behind me, or rather beside me. She gained 20 miles on me overnight because she's got the right sail. I've 110 square metre less sail than I should have, so it's quite difficult.
Donc pas facile.
Can't give up. It's time for some repairs.
While making slow progress south, Louis Burton's done an impressive structural repair job on his boat. He sanded, laminated and reinforced the interior and exterior using materials on board so that he could continue. In this area of the North Atlantic, several sailors deployed scientific buoys provided by Ifremer or by the French Met Office as part of the race's partnership with UNESCO. These buoys will feed data into the Global Ocean Observing System, coordinated by UNESCO, to improve scientists' understanding of the ocean and climate.
We're off again. We've found the wind. It's awesome now. 27, 28, 29, 30 knots.
The fleet leaders began a 24-hour speed race. Driven by the trade winds, the fastest monohulls clocked up more than 1,000 kilometres. Everyone's goal was to head south as quickly as possible, without doing Sam Goodchild any favours by allowing him to break away. And to catch up before the Doldrums, which could reshuffle the cards. At this vital stage, a Brazilian low-pressure system lying beyond them could provide a direct route to the Cape of Good Hope, something the leaders will not want to miss.
It's my birthday and I've just had a few presents for my family. Best present so far is we got wind going at 24 knots average and we're leading the Vendée Globe. So it's a good birthday. Happy birthday. Ciao.
Since last week, Sam Goodchild's frequently been in the lead of the 10th Vendée Globe. The British skipper has been the most consistent and dangerous outsider since the start of the race. François Gabart is here today to talk about this. Hi, François.
Hi.
As the winner of the 2012 Vendée Globe, were you surprised by Sam Goodchild's flawless start?
Surprised? Well, not really, as he was either one of the favourites or a strong outsider. Let's not forget he's been on the podium in every race in recent years, so his sailing profile is strong and consistent. He also started the race cleanly, and he positioned himself well too, much like he has done in recent years in races.
Sam Goodchild's route from Cape Finisterre, making use of a good wind, put him rapidly in the lead. Then, in the race to the west, he chose a slightly different route. Your thoughts?
Right from
the start, along the Portuguese coast, I think he really chose less sea, perhaps with more canvas and a greater angle. So a route that proved very favourable, since he passed ahead of everyone to the south of Portugal. So obviously, that was good. And after that, I think he chose to compromise, with options where he was often surfing a central line and not taking too many risks overall.
You've experienced being a rookie and leading the Vendée Globe. How do you deal with that? Because he seems perfectly calm.
It's the start of the race, so I guess he's obviously happy to be where he is. You can see it not just in his routes and his sailing technique, but also his positioning and speed. He seems very comfortable on the boat and genuinely happy with where he is. When you're a rookie and you're dreaming of a win, I think that's always the case for him. It's always a good thing to be ahead. It's going to relax him. So he's already achieved these goals in the first few days. I think that'll boost his confidence. That should bode well for the future.
As for the boat's handling, it's Thomas Rouillant's former boat, Linked Out, which dismasted in the New York Vendée in the spring. It doesn't seem to have affected him, though.
No, the conditions were fairly easy and favourable for the boats, resulting in minimal damage. So no, I think he was more into surfing. As we saw at Cape It was more about protecting his boat, really. He knows his boat well. He works with Thomas Riot, and he did the Transat Jacques Vabre with Antoine Coche last year. So I think he has a good knowledge and confidence in his boat, despite this year's dismasting.
So, Francois, what's your reaction to Jean Le Cam's unusual route? He's also been top of the rankings for a good part of the week.
Ouais, ben Jean, il tente. C'est vrai qu'il était plutôt au milieu de flotte.
Le Cam gave it a try. I mean, he was in a fairly central position when he passed Madeira. Two options lay before him and the fleet for navigating the windless zone between the Canaries and Cape Verde. He didn't hesitate. He's experienced. He knows he can try things too. He's one of these sailors who isn't necessarily there just to win, so he acted decisively, committed fully to his option without hesitating. He could have made minor adjustments, but instead he pursued his option to the end. That shows his clarity and his resolve.
Voilà, qu'il ne doute pas et qu'il n'a a priori pas douté. Et c'est peut-être évidemment intéressant aussi par rapport à son bateau.
It's also interesting in relation to his non-foiling boat, which lacks the performance of foilers, and when the wind falls off, they accelerate rapidly. He gave it a try, which was great to see because it introduced broader strategic options. He led the fleet in the rankings for several days. That was impressive. However, the foilers to the west picked up speed, leveraging an option that appeared advantageous given their positioning and the performances of their boats.
Thanks very much, Francois. You're on standby for your Jules Verne record attempt on your SVR Lazatique trimaran, so we'll see you on the water, chasing after the Vendée Globe sailors, and you may well overtake them fairly quickly.
Exactement, on est début de stand-by.
Exactly, the Jules Verne Trophy standby period has just begun. I'm really eager to set off round the world again soon. With some luck, we might even overtake a few Vendée Globe boats during the Jules Verne. Crossing paths with them would be fantastic. It would be great to see each other on video, but this time with the whole crew, directly from the SVR Lazatique trimaran.
OK, thanks, Francois. We wrap up this third Vendée Mag with this week's bad news. Maxime Sorel was forced to retire from this 10th Vendée Globe after injuring his ankle whilst climbing the mast to lower his mainsail. The VMB Montbana Mayenne team's journey ended early in Madeira.
Well, I've jibed and I'm heading for Madeira. I've got to get back up the mast to lower this mainsail, which won't come down. And right now, got to look after this ankle, which is sore. We're in Madeira. I've just arrived in calm winds.
We've just landed and saw Maxime on our way in.
I've reviewed the situation with Miriam these last 48 hours. She's been telling me to stop hurting myself.
D'accord.
Agreed. If we have 1.5 meters behind, we're left with 14.4 meters. The thing is, we're very wide.
The plan is to go the back of the boat and then Baptiste drop on the boat.
Sorry, guys.
No need to be sorry.
Ça fait que empirer, que empirer.
It just got worse and worse. The diagnosis deteriorated and the pain was growing, so that's why I decided to stop.
C'est la raison pour laquelle j'ai décidé d'arrêter.
The ligament's torn or stretched and then it bled. This is the blood spreading under the skin.
Voilà, la décision, elle est forcément dure.
Well, it's clearly a tough decision. It's 4 years. countless hours of hard work.
Des quantités de sueur incalculables. Déçu, mais pas abattu.
While I'm disappointed, I haven't lost heart. It remains a mechanical sport, and I have a passion for it, including the boat's mechanics. But the body's a machine too.
C'est pas forcément quelque chose auquel je m'étais préparé.
I thought I was ready physically, but it didn't take too much for this body to break.
Pour faire que cette machine débloque. Voilà, c'est le constat est là, quoi.
Well, that's that. Sadly, we're retiring from the Vendée Globe, but I can feel the determination building inside me, and I'm ready to bounce back quickly.